Creedence Clearwater Revival on DCFM 88.9. They're going up around the bend this morning. I don't know about going up around the bend. I am going round the bend. Oh, dear oh me. Mamas the Papas, California Dreaming, and Pablo Cruz. Love will find a way. It's 9:28. This is DCFM 88.9. It's that time of the week when we do this. Morning, Matthew. How are you?
It's good being back in the studio. I've been out of the studio the last couple of weeks and I haven't been able to hear that from where I've been on the phone.
I know, Bega and then Perth. So anyway, here you are back in Dubbo, and with some amazing stories this morning. And I really don't know where to start, but let's start with the Motorola phone. I had a Motorola phone many years ago, and it was the Ants Pants of phones. It was really good.
Yeah.
Until I dropped it in water.
Well, back in those days, phones weren't waterproof not waterproof, water resistant as they are now. But the Razor was certainly an incredibly popular phone. And if I even go back further, when I started selling phones back in 1990, so we're going back a few years, Motorola bag phones, then the brick phones were the phones to have. And then this little company called Nokia came along and seemed to knock them off their perch, and away they went. But the Razor was a little flip phone, and what was great about the Razor when it came out was that it was the first phone that was really small enough to stick in your pocket conveniently, but then still had a reasonable size keypad and a screen you could actually see. So the Razor was certainly a popular phone, there's no doubt about it, but then these little annoying smartphone things came along, and again, they got knocked off their perch by them. But there's a revival. You've had Creedence Clearwater on, so there's a revival there with Razor, and they're actually bringing out a modern version of the Razor. It'll still be a flip phone. It'll be a phone that I think will be quite a popular phone, and again, there'll be a lot of people out there like yourself that have had a Razor in the past and might want to go back and look at having a Razor again.
Well, yeah, but I'm quite happy with what I've got at the moment. But anyway, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, one of the interesting things is it's a foldable phone, but not the same foldable phone that, say, a Galaxy Fold is, where the screen's folding. They're actually doing it as a two-piece phone rather than a single fold phone. But again, I think it'll be interesting to see how many people remember their old Razor and might want to go back to the Razor.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'll have a look.
Obviously, Motorola's banking a lot of development on this and hoping that people do want to go back and be nostalgic.
Yeah, it's a huge competition at the moment. But anyway, now listen, women are more likely than men to say please to, Siri and to Alexa. I say, Alexa, tell me the time, or Alexa, do this.
Well, it's interesting. They've done some surveys, and 62% of females actually say please and use manners when they're talking to their smart devices. Only 45% of males do the same thing. So it's not just a small difference, it's a fairly large difference. Yeah. The critical thing here, and using your psych background, you might be able to answer this, but the critical thing here is why? And there's a couple of theories or hypotheses that have been put forward, and they've been either A, just in general, females are more polite. B, it might be that females being the voice of these smart devices, you've got males who are talking to them and are used to maybe not being so polite to females, so it might be a chauvinistic bent. And the third option might be that males are more practical and they know there's no point saying please or thank you to a device that's listing out for key words. So if you said please turn the TV on, it's looking for TV on. So there's not much point in saying please turn the TV on, because it's actually just giving it extra words that it doesn't need.
Yeah, I did the same in the car with Sarah, and Sarah call Matt Dickerson, and it'll call you, and she'll call you, and all that sort of business in the car while you're driving along. Yeah. The same thing. Yeah, you're right. They're looking for key words. What I find is with Alexa and with my car phone, they don't like M. So if I say, I've got a friend Mills, and I say, no, it just won't pick up Mills. Yeah. And it won't pick up mutton. It picks up Martin, but it won't pick up, and I'll try and ring my brother.
There's a conspiracy here somewhere.
There is. So my brother's Philip Mutton, so I have to, on the phone, say, ring Dr. Phil. And I tremble, as a psych, I tremble every time I say Dr. Phil, because he's bloody brilliant, that bloke. He can solve a problem in 45 minutes on television plus commercials. Now, tell us about the dunny.
Well,
and now listen, folks, this is the best story that Matthew has come up with in the last month. This is fantastic, this story. Well, and it's not crap.
Boom, boom. It's actually quite relevant with the amount of discussion around water at the moment. people around the world are looking for various solutions to help in water saving. Now, we know many toilets have got the dual flush, so you have one flush for yellow, another flush for brown, effectively. So there's some researchers who have come up with some coating on the inside of a toilet. It's a two-part coating. You spray one coating on, wait about 5 minutes, then spray the second part on. And what it does is it makes your toilet ultra slippery. So things won't stick to it as you put them in the toilet. It's good for about 500 flushes.
I hope you're not eating.
But the main advantage from it is that it requires less water to get the stuff that's there out of the toilet down to where it should be, down to the sewage treatment plant eventually. So the idea is it's an ultra slippery coating. Now, I can see the application for retrofitting toilets, basically spraying it on the existing toilets, but I can also see the manufacturers looking at some way of having a new range of toilets come out effectively that new toilets, as we see with houses now, new toilets have got the dual flush. I can see new toilets will have some tagline that'll be the ultra slippery toilet or something along those lines. But basically, technology is trying to solve the problem of using less water in toilets, and I love the idea.
Oh, so do I. I think it's fantastic. I mean, at the moment, if it's yellow, let it mellow, and that sort of thing to save water. And well, I'll be honest, I do that because every time I see a toilet flush, you think, oh, that water.
That's right.
And it's lovely potable water, being mixed with something, and it's
the way it goes.
The way it goes.
But they've actually looked further than that as well. They've looked at coating the inside of the actual sewage pipes as well. At the moment, their research shows that it actually is wearing out, as I said, about 500 flushes. So they've got to get it better before they can coat the inside of sewage pipes. But again, you can imagine a council or a local utility putting in pipes that are ultra slippery so that they are basically getting it out of there without needing the same amount of water to get rid of the waste.
I think it's fantastic. I really hope that one takes off. I think it's a great story.
Yep.
Finally, mate, artificial skin that has a touch sense about it. This is great.
Yeah, and the main application in the initial phases was around gaming. Gaming, there's so much money generated with gaming. There's so many different ways to try and improve the gaming experience. I mean, I've played with some VR headsets and they've been fantastic. You actually feel like you're really in the game, but you're just using your senses of sight and hearing. And what they're developing now is the sense of touch as well, so that you can actually get to the point where you put on a glove, for example, and while you're playing the game, you'll feel something there. Then you start to put more parts of your body, and effectively you end up with an artificial skin. So you're feeling these sensations during the game. But then they've started to apply it in different ways. So, for example, someone with a prosthetic limb can actually get to the point where they've got some feeling in what they're doing. And then it gets further than that. If you've got to the point where you've got a prosthetic hand, when you pick up something that's fragile, say an egg, for example, you can determine how hard you're squeezing on that because you're getting feedback through that. So sure, it might be for gaming in the early stages and they might make some money out of gaming, but then there'll be some great applications in a whole range of physical, for example, limb replacements, even getting to the point where you're sitting on one side of the country, I'm sitting on the other side, and I want to give you a pat on the back, and you actually feel it with the artificial skin you might be wearing when I pat you on the back on something that I might have at my end. So there's a whole range of applications there, but fascinating technology.
Yeah, it is fascinating technology. I mean, doing a Skype and you pat someone on the back and you feel it, I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yep.
There we are. That's Tech Talk for this week. Thanks, Matt. Terrific to talk with you as usual. And we'll look for slippery surfaces. DCFM 88.9 Tech Talk back next Wednesday morning.